What's up, everyone? Welcome to Game Conclave. Thanks for watching. I am Vberg, and today we're going to be talking about 10 of the greatest games on the OG Xbox that you can still play to this day, starting with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. So this is part of the Halo Master Chief Collection, which also comes with 5 other additional Halo games. But we're just going to be talking about Combat Evolved today, which was the very first Halo game, and the one that really put Xbox and Bungie on the map. This is one of the most important first-person shooters in console history, and a really darn good game. I would, say that they don't make them like this anymore as like a generic cliche, but, well, they actually really don't make them like this anymore. This was a first-person shooter where the entire campaign was playable in split-screen co-op, and it still is. The original game had 4-person local multiplayer as well, and both of those are features you just don't see much of anymore in first-person shooters on consoles, which is a shame. But yeah, Halo is an epic and fantastic sci-fi adventure. This game introduced us to the entire universe of Halo. Master Chief, the Flood, the Covenant, Cortana. It's just a fantastic game that sets the stage for its brilliant sequel, and the version in the Master Chief Collection is the Anniversary Edition, which was a remastered version from 2011. It touts all sorts of upgraded visuals and some mild gameplay tweaks, so you can still play this legendary first-person shooter on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and S, and PC, and who knows, with Microsoft's friendly third-party status they have these days, I won't be surprised to see this jump ship to the PlayStation 5 and maybe even the Switch too.
That's true. The Covenant kept saying that whoever controls Halo controls the fate of the universe.
SNK vs. Capcom SVC Chaos is a fantastic fighting game developed by SNK Playmore. This one is a crossover fighting title featuring characters from SNK and Capcom's universes. So just like Capcom vs. SNK 1 and 2, this is a crossover fighter, but instead of being made by Capcom, this one's made by SNK. So it has their take on some of the characters you would have seen in Street Fighter and various Capcom properties. So throughout the game, you'll be Buster Wolfing, Hadoukenen, Shoryukenen, and Shiki Oniyakiing all your enemies across 10 different stages. There's 36 playable characters, ranging from series like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, Final Fight, The King of Fighters, The Art of Fighting, Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug, and more. There's also several hidden and unlockable characters to acquire for those into the challenge of doing so. You can play this one on the PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC, yet strangely, though it was formerly an Xbox exclusive, it's not to be found on any modern Xbox systems. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy was developed by Raven Software and is set in the George Lucas era Star Wars universe. The one that people almost universally loved. Back during the New Republic era. You play as Jade Empire, a customizable Jedi in training who attends Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy on Yavin 4. I loved this era in the books. There were some really great characters and storylines that came out of this time period, particularly in the books. Some really cool stuff. Anyway, in the game, you find out about a Sith cult, the Disciples of Ragnos, who are seeking to resurrect the ancient Sith Lord Marco Ragnos, who, funny enough, is going to appear in another game on this list. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll hop between Tatooine, Hoth, and Coruscant throughout our intergalactic journey in Jedi Academy, and the combat alternates between first-person and third-person perspectives depending on what you're doing. First-person for blasters, third-person for your lightsaber combat, and some of the powers. You can get all the usual fare on your force powers, force pushes, force pulls, lightning blasts, enhanced speed, etc. This was a really great game, super underrated, I feel, and you can still play it on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC.
Oh, that's high praise coming from a Wookiee.
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is a hack-and-slash action RPG, not to be confused with Baldur's Gate, the CRPG. Anyway, Dark Alliance was developed by Snowblind Studios, who also released the Champions games back on PS2, which were set in the EverQuest universe, but yeah. Dark Alliance is set in the Dungeons & Dragons Forgotten Realms universe, and is set in the eponymous city of Baldur's Gate, and Dark Alliance actually takes place in the beginning in Baldur's Gate, unlike the actual game Baldur's Gate, which takes 5 chapters to actually get to Baldur's Gate. Yeah. Anyway, you play as an elven sorceress, a human archer, or a dwarven fighter. You get ambushed in the beginning of the game by thieves as soon as you set foot in the city, and that spirals into a quest to save the whole darn region. Combat plays out in real-time hack-and-slash action. You snag up tasty loot and acquire new skills or spells as you progress through the game's main plot and side quests. And one of my favorite parts of this one is that the whole game can be played in online or local co-op. You can still play this one on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. The Thing Remastered, developed by Night Dive Studios, is a horror squad-based third-person shooter set in Antarctica's Outpost 31. This game acts as a sequel to the fantastic John Carpenter film from 1982, The Thing. If you haven't seen it, great movie. We play as Captain J.F. Blake, who is leading a U.S. Special Forces team to investigate a research facility's destruction. You will wander around the lab and its facilities and find all sorts of unsettling signs of madness, chaos, and lurking threats as you try to piece together what transpired through logs and the survivors that you interact with. You have to manage your supplies and your squad's sanity as they slowly grow paranoid throughout the course of the game. They can potentially run away in fear, run out into the snow and die from hypothermia, or even turn on you if they don't agree with the decisions you're making. A super fun, super unique game. You can play it on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC.
My men are dying out there.
You're out of your league here, Blake. This game is just beginning.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is still one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's developed by BioWare, best known these days, sadly, for Dragon Age the Veilguard flopping. But before things like this studio used to pump out some of the best RPGs of all time in the Mass Effect and Dragon Age series. But before they made it there, they had Knights of the Old Republic and Baldur's Gate. Anyway, the Knights of the Old Republic is set before the Star Wars movies in an era of galactic conflict. You'll create your character and choose between playing as a soldier, smuggler, or scout. You then wake up on a Republic ship that finds itself under Sith attack. Once you escape your ship, you'll team up with Karth, an elite soldier, and attempt to rescue Bastila, the Jedi commander of your squadron, who's gone missing on the planet Taurus. You'll recruit unruly droids, Wookiees, street urchins, grumpy old Jedis, moody young Jedis, and set off to save the galaxy from the threat of Darth Malak. You'll be hopping to various well-known planets from the Star Wars mythos, such as Tatooine, Dantooine, Korriban, Kashyyyk, and more. You and your squad will fight in real time with pause combat system, where you have the options to use blasters, melee skills, force powers, etc. You'll shape your character's morality with dialogue and quest decisions that can even impact your allies, as you decide what kind of person you'll be in a galaxy far, far away. And you can still play this amazing game on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC.
The Republic will fall.
The Force fights with me!
Doom 3 was developed by id Software. Since it's a Doom game, it's a first-person shooter set on Mars in the year 2145. A research facility has accidentally opened a gateway to hell, and you play as the lone marine investigating the disastrous calamity that has transpired and unleashed hellspawn upon the Red Planet. Now, Doom 3 brought some new elements to the franchise that weren't quite as well received back when it came out, I feel like. But I think these days they're actually all highly praised. So despite the demonic imagery and the gore and the stuff that's always been an aspect of Doom, these kind of horror imagery, horror gameplay elements weren't so much a part of the series as they were in the third title. The gameplay was a little bit slower, a little bit more deliberate, than it was in 1 and 2. A little more claustrophobic in some of the settings, and they certainly amped up the jump scares, not that I didn't crap myself a few times back in 1993 on the original Doom when I'd open a door and find a frickin' Pinky or Cacodemon, But Doom 3 just kind of amped those elements up in a different way than its predecessors, and made for a great game. At least that's how I feel. You can still play this on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC.
Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3.
Alright, now we got Jade Empire. Hey look, I found another topic to include Jade Empire in. Yeah, what's up? Jade Empire is BioWare's bastard child, the little fantasy Chinese martial arts RPG that never could. It's an action RPG focused on martial arts. You can use magic, transform, and have various weapon styles. It has an interesting morality system based on the philosophy of the open palm, which helps others to create order, or the closed fist, which rejects assisting others to encourage self-sufficiency. In some quests, it's a little black and white, but there's some nuance to it here and there. You select a character model and name your character, who's the star student of a martial arts academy in the rural countryside. There's all sorts of rumors about ghosts and spirits wandering the lands, creating chaos. Your master tells you that you have an important destiny to help people in this tumultuous time, and shortly after learning this, the Empire will attack your academy, kidnap your mentor, and you set out to get him back. And along the journey to do so, you'll recruit fellow martial artists, hermits, pirates, and drunk mercenaries to help you quest throughout the countryside and get to the heart of the Jade Empire and discern what's going on. This is a great game. It's a little janky in some areas, but it has really fantastic writing and characters. Everything that you would expect from the studio that made Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age, and Mass Effect. You can still play it to this day on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Syberia is a point-and-click adventure game set in a fantastical Europe. You play as Kate Walker, a New York lawyer tasked with finalizing a factory sale in the French town of Valladolid. But upon her arrival, she finds out from the notary that the deceased owner has claimed their brother, who was once thought long dead, is in fact alive and is now the owner of the factory. Kate must now discover if this Hans Vorarlberg is alive or dead, and if he's alive, she must obtain his approval for the sale of the factory to be finalized. And this will play out in a third-person point-and-click adventure game where you solve puzzles and can pursue objectives within chapters in a non-linear order. This series is the brainchild of Benoit Sokal, the Belgian comic artist and game developer. The very first title, the Amer Zone, is actually getting a remake coming out pretty soon. You can only play the original Syberia, though, these days on Switch and PC.
My name is Kate Walker, and I'm a lawyer. I'm in charge of this train. This situation is really very new to me.
Lawyer! Good job! Earn lot of money!
A lot? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I can't really complain, I guess. There's worse.
Lawyer always ask a lot of money!
Can we change the subject, please? I really don't want to go down this road.
Fable, developed by Lionhead Studios, is a whimsical fantasy action RPG set in the medieval lands of Albion. You begin the game as a young orphan whose village is attacked, leading to your recruitment by the Heroes Guild. The story follows your journey to become a professional hero, as you also uncover a dark plot that threatens the country. You can build yourself for strength, skill, or magic, which can actually alter your character's model and appearance, which is really cool. So your playstyle affects how your character looks. Your appearance can also change based on your quest decisions and reputation and their morality system. You've got access to melee weapons, skills, bows, and magic, which you can combine in any way, shape, or form you please. And the game is super goofy. It has all this really funny crap you can do, like kill off villagers and then purchase and rent out their homes for cash, fart at people when they greet you, and all sorts of other childish, yet kind of funny crap if you're as immature as me. It's a great little game, and you can only play it on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC these days, as it is a Microsoft exclusive, but maybe, as we mentioned with Halo, that will change sometime in the near future given their new third-party friendly status.
You want one for free then? Being me boss and all. This way, love. Oh, that's better. Ow! Watch what you're doing! You don't want to break anything, do you? Back to the grime for me. No rest for Polly.
So tell us down in the comments, what were some of your favorite original Xbox games? Particularly ones that you can't play anymore. Tell us about how much you loved them down in the comments. And if you liked the video, give us a like and subscribe. And from all of us here at Game Conclave, thank you so much for watching.